What song, like, immediately puts you in a good mood?
Do you know what puts me in a bad mood? I know this is not quite...
Okay, I'll take it.
The song Happy by Pharrell Williams, because it was such a good song when it first came out. It was sick, and it got so overplayed. Every time I hear, because I'm happy, I'm like, no.
Okay.
I'm like, get it off, no.
I can see that. I mean, I still quite like it, but yeah, I get that.
It was such a good song, but then the radio was just like, do you know what time it is? And they've done that with Driver's License as well. Every single time I go out, I just hear Driver's License.
I haven't heard that song yet.
It's the same as
Like at all.
That's driver's license.
I went away with my dad probably about 11, 12 years ago for an archery competition to Gisborne.
Oh my.
But
Monkey is.
the entire weekend that we were away, I swear the only two songs that played on the radio were Big Girls Don't Cry by Fergie and Hey There Delilah by the Plain White Tees. I hate both of those songs with burning passion.
See, with Hey There Delilah, I'm the same sort of thing. Like, if it comes on, I'm like, and sometimes I'll let it play out, but most of the time I'm just like, nah, it's a good song, but we're skipping it today.
Yeah.
But the song that, like, will instantly put me in a good mood, it happened about a week ago at work. I was having, kind of a meh day because of work, and that boss, for some reason, had Come On Eileen by Dexys on his playlist. And immediately, I was back at 8 Ball with the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a night we were out where we heard that song 3 separate times.
Damn.
Because 8 Ball has the jukebox.
Yeah.
Yeah. And 2 of us put it on independently of each other. And then the guy who was playing at Decanter that night played it as well. So.
Oh, yo.
It's just such a good song.
I don't know, like, songs that put me in a good mood is just all my little emo.
Yikes.
Like, one of my favourite songs is The Irony of Choking on a Lifesaver by All Time Low.
Mine would probably just be something random, like, if I'm coming back from work, I don't know, like... I'm trying to think, honestly. I don't know, maybe some, like, Initial D music or, like, Russian hard bass.
Oh, my language.
Yeah. Hard bass.
Okay, alright, you were doing an ethnic pronunciation. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's how they always say it. Hard bass, hard bass. Yeah, no, I can't do Russian.
Should we introduce you? I mean...
We'll get the intro
Hey,
first.
shut up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, true. Are we actually recording the screen?
Yep, it's going. It's all good.
Cool.
I saw
Welcome.
a that looks different. Sorry, yes, hello.
Shut up! And welcome to the ZeroFunction podcast. We now return to your regularly scheduled programming where there are slightly more brain cells than usual.
Yes. And I'm actually present again, like last week.
Yeah.
Did you guys say something about last week?
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
It was in that video. What did you think of that, by the way?
Still haven't watched it. I mean, but while we were sitting up and things like that, I was like going through it, and it looked like a good video, but because we were sitting up and things like that, I wasn't watching it properly.
So
But
you approve of the concept?
oh yeah, the concept and thing. Yeah, I like skipped through it, and I was like, oh, this actually looks pretty sick. But like, I didn't have an opportunity to like sit down and watch it. But I can probably do that when I get home anyway.
Awesome. Jen, do you want to introduce our guest? Oh well, first of all, I am your host for this week, Lee. I'm here with Conall.
Yes.
And Jen, as usual. And Jen, who have you brought with you today?
Introduced as. Do you want to introduce yourself?
I mean, I could just be about us and introduce myself.
Yeah, there you go.
Right,
go
hi,
ahead.
my name is Jet, and I am Jen's manslave.
Manslave?
I was like, is this when you break up with me? You're just like...
Friend.
Concern. I feel like that's worse.
So guys,
No, my partner,
I'm
I'm
single
a bit
now.
harsh.
No.
No.
This is my boyfriend.
We'll just call him... We'll just call him...
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, hey, he drove 3 hours just to see me. So.
No, I'm Christian.
Oh.
What?
No.
We're gonna have a problem here.
No, we'll just call him Sexy Voice Man or something.
Or
That'd be
narrative Night on Twitch. Shout out.
I have no name right now online. I
okay.
literally have. I'm nobody.
Ah, so okay, don't worry about him.
Okay.
It's okay, it's good.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Haha.
I'm not the only one.
It's funny, in like all the descriptions of our videos, we have like, find us individually, and I've got like 6 different links for like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, I think. My
You have a
YouTube channel.
Facebook? That seems like a bad idea.
Yeah. Oh no, not my personal favorite. Like I have.
I was gonna
Facebook
say,
page.
like,
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
Yeah.
Connell's got YouTube and Twitch, I think, and then
Yeah.
Lee's not
I
even
am a
on there.
hermit.
Yeah, Lee's not even on there, and it's like
Yeah, yikes.
Not too
I
shabby.
am,
Not too shabby.
I am such an introvert, it's not even funny.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so yeah, we've been a bit all over the place in the last, I don't know, I'd say month or so.
yeah.
But we're back with the serial killers.
Yep.
I know you guys have been waiting for this.
Yeah,
So-
it's like our most not requested, but most like viewed and things like that. Everyone's just like, we want to learn about the messed up people.
Yeah, the actual true crime stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
I do love cereal.
Don't we all?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very informative.
So last time we were all together, I gave you guys a clue. Now,
Jesus.
alrighty then.
Relax.
Dad?
So do you have any guesses as to what we're going through today?
Clown.
Wait,
Clown. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Clown was the clue.
we talked about
Sorry, I'm
that.
not speaking in my microphone.
You're
Um,
also like completely blocking me.
Well, nobody cares about you.
Yeah,
No,
just
I'm kidding.
slide back
I
like an
didn't
inch
mean
or
it.
two.
So
Slide back like an inch or two.
I love how
yeah.
they can now see my audio baffling. Such
My
as it is.
feet. Yeah, have some
Yeah.
feet.
Oh, nice.
Nice. You are kind
Smell
of
the
just pushed
feet.
into the corner a bit, aren't you?
300% increase in subscribers right there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take the socks off midway.
Someone takes the screen grab of your feet, just close up.
Early fans.
Okay.
I am always in the corner though.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
In the corner.
any guesses?
Clown.
Yeah, no, I
Clown.
have absolutely no
Child
idea
molester.
of any.
Child molester clown.
I mean,
I have
You're
no
not far
idea.
off.
The only
Oh no.
the only like clowns I remember that were like serial killers. Like, remember when clowns were like an issue in New Zealand a couple years ago?
God,
They
I think
were?
it was everywhere.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
was it? I
Oh.
thought it was just in New Zealand.
I remember
there were
stuff in
stories-
America.
Yeah, there were definitely stories out of the States.
Yeah, like
Clowns
people
following
coming
you.
out on like dark roads and shit,
Yeah.
and then they'd end up getting like shot or run over because people would get freaked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there
It's
was
like-
the ones in New Zealand where they're like, I think it was in the East Coast. They were just like popping out of bushes with like knives and shit. And I was
Yeah.
like, bro.
Mm.
I got my arm like I'm about to
Not a
take a
good idea.
blood test right now.
You're
Yeah.
just tense.
No,
I'm
okay.
not flexing.
No,
Alright.
I'm not.
So, if you guys have no idea,
I've literally never heard of any like clowns and serial killers. They kind of like, you know, in horror movies and things they go hand in hand. But I names and things I've literally not heard of a single one.
okay, alright. Well, this week, and potentially next week as well, depending on how long this episode runs, it will probably be a multi-parter. We are going to be talking about John Wayne Gacy.
John
Killer
Wayne
Clown of
Gacy.
Oh! My
Alright.
brain cogs have suddenly like.
That was a bit of
There
an
you go.
intense.
Yeah.
There you go. I think she's got it. I think she's got it.
Oh my goodness.
By Joves. Right.
Joves?
Yeah, Joves.
It's
Man,
Joves.
Beard.
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Okay. Tell us.
You're right there.
Good.
Don't
spill the coffee now.
Good.
Jen choking on a coffee.
I don't think it was that funny.
Yeah, it was just it was the awkward silence afterwards, like. Right, cool.
Well,
let's
maybe
move
if
on.
you were funnier.
I mean,
Ah.
hey, we can't make things like that. It's,
Ooh. Harsh.
it's what it is,
Harsh.
isn't it? I couldn't try harder. It'll get worse. You're very silent now, all of a sudden, though.
I'm just relaxing.
I look like I've got an ice cream right now, I'll be honest.
do not look that.
Just give it a
No, I
look.
mean, no, I was gonna say it's my own feet, but who wants to lick
Yes.
their own feet?
Ah,
For anyone who,
Children.
for anyone
Hold
who
on.
has not seen previous episodes, Conall uses a sock over his microphone as a pop filter.
I do, because I'm too lazy to go get a proper one, even though I easily could.
Yeah,
But
again, they are like $15 from the rock shop.
Also,
you know what that means? Driving into town.
you were in town yesterday.
yeah.
But it was like the opposite side of town.
Also, I keep noticing when you're looking at yourself in the screen. The webcam's down there.
I know.
I mean, leaving the house is
Don't
half the battle.
expose him. That's just harsh.
It really is. I
Yeah,
didn't.
once you're in town, it's fine though. So you had no excuse. 'cause you
I didn't
were
go
in
out
town.
for like 2 months, 3 months maybe previously.
Yeah.
2.
Lifestyle.
Right, let's get to the episode.
I got a really great lifestyle, obviously.
Good stuff. Not too
Alright,
bad.
so
I'm gonna use your feet to block my feet because I'm not wearing socks.
Yikes.
Nice.
yeah, if you how are your video editing skills?
Not good.
Okay, can you like put a picture up like on the video
Yeah, I can do
in a
that.
certain place? Okay, cool. So we'll
Or at least I hope I can.
okay, so
If you can't do that, I'm gonna be very unimpressed with your skills.
we'll check this picture
I can just
out.
put it on the screen for a brief amount of time.
But I'll show you why Gacy is known as the Killer Clown, is because he had a oh yeah, no, this is the thumbnail for sure. He was well known for working as a professional clown.
I'm waiting in suspense to
Amongst
see this
other
photo.
things.
Show me to me.
I present to you Mr. John Wayne Gacy.
Oh, this
yeah,
chap.
it was
No,
him.
yeah, I know this
Yeah,
guy.
so we've definitely showed him before previously.
I hate that.
Once.
He's got.
not
Oh.
great.
He just looks bad.
I'm gonna try and
Not
find.
good.
I'm gonna try and find the screenshot because I saw it the other day, and it's like why we find clowns scary.
It's to do with the fact that the makeup like breaks up the facial features, so you can't tell.
Part of that, but there's a psychological
Reduces
effect
like
too.
the humanity of it.
Yeah, it's like it becomes something that our brains can't immediately recognize as human.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except
that's not
everything
cash
else
money.
is like human about it, so it like triggers that uncanny valley response.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not cash money. I guess.
So yeah, my role on the show is the guy who knows things.
He always knows things.
Yeah.
I'm dumb as a brick.
And mine are the funny episodes. They always end up corrupting somehow.
I have approximate knowledge
What do you mean?
of things.
Well, it happened once.
Well, damn.
You over exaggerated.
And
it
that was
a
one
pretty
of the
much.
best
It was
episodes
a
too.
good episode.
Yeah.
You good?
I'm
You
still sad that we lost that.
you stashing your glasses?
Didn't
No,
get
don't-
it.
Yeah. Try not to put them out the open window. That wouldn't be good. That's the wrong side.
How many pairs of glasses do you have there?
Are you good? Are you good over there with your research?
No.
No.
How you doing?
Are you just here for face value?
Yeah.
Are you eye candy right now? Is that what you are?
Wink.
Oh,
A little bit of a snarl.
that was not a snarl. That was a snort. That was.
That was a mix.
I'm very uncomfortable
mix.
with what's happening. I'm very uncomfortable with the energy we've created in the studio today.
Just be more comfortable with it.
Thanks to Martin, mate.
It's my
More of
dad.
that one.
You're not my dad.
Right. So
hope
while,
not.
while Jen is doing her research there,
We already know you are the research guru. I'm really struggling because I saw it just like
Sort
on
of.
Facebook as well. So I'm like just trying to find
Oh,
this
okay.
photo of. Basically, you know
Is
what?
it a waste
Screw
of
the
time?
research. Yeah, it's pretty much
I think I
potentially.
learned that on a Vsauce video.
So the reason apparently
yeah.
why some people find clowns scary as well is because like you paint like happy faces and things like that on because it's for people who like oh, it's like when they're hiding their true emotions. It's kind of like bringing joy to a situation that lacks it, essentially. So,
Right. Okay.
so it's something about recognizing lying or something. So we only find the clown scary to the people who are like lying about their emotions, but your brain can detect that or something. So the ones that you find scary, you can tell that they're not actually happy people.
Right.
Like your brain can somehow detect that, and they're like lying about their emotion. So like some people find certain clowns scary, but not others. Why?
So that's why the 2019 Joker is scary.
Yeah.
No.
I stopped
Fair
following a
joke.
bit ago.
Yeah. So it's something to do with the quote puts it into better wording, but like that's the gist of it. Like the reason why it's uneasy to your brain is because you're like something's not up with them. They're
Okay.
That ain't
yeah,
right,
you
Chief.
You can't tell what's actually going on
Yeah.
with them.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah, but they like you know they look happy and they
I see
act
that.
happy, but your brain's just kind of like I don't think
Yeah.
so. Yeah,
That's interesting.
well you know, fun facts from Jen, even though it took 20 years to get to.
Fun. Haha. So.
Nice. Yeah. Right. So, going back
Rude
to
asshole.
we are going back, as with a lot of serial killers actually, to the 70s. Yeah.
The 70s was just the time for murder. 'Cause
Oh
everyone-
yeah.
everyone
Oh
was
yeah.
just like love thy neighbor.
Oh yeah. Like the early 70s through like the mid to late 80s was like peak serial killer activity time.
Yeah.
Why?
It's because in the 60s they were all getting stoned, and now they're like we're coming off on
Whoa.
our high. I'm just destroying your bed.
The
I think
government's taking our drugs. Now we gotta kill people. What? Sorry, I started going
Okay,
on
alright.
a weird
Yeah, I'm not sure what that has to do with it.
line of thinking there. I don't know. Start thinking about the whole
Because
war on
of-
drugs
I'm
thing
old.
for
I
some
need a
reason.
back race.
But yeah, no,
I feel like that was
definitely,
earlier.
Definitely, because the 60s especially, just talking a little bit about the kind of socio-political context of
Damn,
the era.
big words.
The 60s and the free love movement in general was very much a response to the conservatism of the post-war era, like especially in the 50s. You had a lot of adults coming out of that wartime era, with these real conservative values. Classic 50s stuff. And then you have the kids who are being born post-war, and they're, growing up in the 50s and then coming of age in the 60s, and they're rebelling against the older generation. And that's where the very progressive free love movement came from in the 60s. And with that became this attitude of freedom. It was a time when a lot of people weren't tied down to things.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is it was very easy for people to disappear back in those decades. Especially in the 70s, the trope of the lone hitchhiker, getting picked up by a weird dude on the highway,
Yeah.
That actually happened. And obviously a lot of the time it wasn't, they weren't murdered or anything, but still that's prime hunting ground for a serial killer.
Honestly,
Fuck
yeah.
that.
But I mean,
Yeah,
even
sure.
in all the movies and things like that, people pretending to be aircon guys or whatever. If you're not expecting anyone, don't open the door. Whereas they were just wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
I wonder who's here for me.
Well, I bring up the transient hitchhiker example because that's something that we're actually going to see with Gacy. Is that that's one of the ways that he chose his victims.
Oh.
Yeah. So John Wayne Gacy was born on March 17th, 1942 in Chicago. He was the second child of John Stanley Gacy and Marion Elaine Robeson. I believe he had an older sister, but I couldn't find any information about her.
Yeah.
Just that he was the second child and the only son, so I assume he had an older sister. Don't actually know. His father was an auto repair machinist and a veteran of World War I, and his mother was a housewife. The family was Catholic, and Gacy himself was of Polish and Danish ancestry.
Ooh.
And that's a little bit of
backstory.
information which will come up later. So Gacy, early life, Gacy had a pretty close relationship with his mother and sisters. That's right, he had two sisters. I don't know why I forgot about that. Ugh.
You're I don't know if he had any
Sister.
sisters. Had a really close relationship with his sisters.
Yes, he had two sisters.
Yeah.
I was doing...
But the only son.
In my defense, I did a lot of this research late last night.
Oh, so this was
Classic.
a fever dream. I'm
And the separate bits of information weren't really connecting with each other. So
Yeah.
those two sentences didn't overlap
Link.
in my brain. Yeah, so I know. Okay, yeah. So yes, he was close with his mother and sisters, but he had a really difficult relationship with his dad, who was an alcoholic.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
You guys, actually. You
Yeah.
guys are the only people I know who have a solid relationship with their dad.
Really?
Yikes.
Yeah.
All right. I guess my friends are
Papa.
just more well adjusted than
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Yeah, no. I literally don't know anyone.
My friends are pretty normal with their dad or
What
I mean,
defines
for the most part,
normal with the
One of my
dad?
friends' dad is dead, but I don't think that
Good
counts.
kiss.
Yeah, no, that doesn't really count. But
Yeah.
literally all my parents, they're friends' parents, they're either divorced or they just don't speak to their
Wow.
fathers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's just completely unusual to me.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
I
I
guess
think not.
My parents are still together, but
I guess on a macro
Not really.
society,
Yeah.
it's not really weird, but yeah, just from personal experience, I don't know. It's just
imagine growing up in a safe household.
Stable is the word that you're probably looking for.
Yeah, stable. There we go.
Stable.
Talk about your dad a lot on the podcast.
Yeah, it's called venting.
Not so much talking about it. It comes
Therapy
up
is
a lot.
expensive. This is where I've been.
Okay, fair enough.
Because you literally can't leave, so it's okay.
I will start doing it. So yeah, Gacy's dad was he was physically abusive to his wife and kids. He was an alcoholic. He would often call Gacy, dumb and stupid, mama's boy, sissy. He'd say things like he'll probably grow up queer.
I'm sorry, are you alright?
You having a
I'm
heart
trying to
attack?
listen to this information, and I've just got you over here
Yeah, he would.
I'm enjoying the description.
He would be beaten with a leather belt.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah,
harder.
there was an incident when Gacy was about 7, where this is a bit.
You said incident, and now you're laughing, so I'm like.
Well, no, because I forgot about this.
You're laughing at how bad it is.
Well,
I'm
no,
assuming.
Gacy's father found out that Gacy and another boy had been caught sexually fondling a young girl. Gacy was 7 at the time. Okay, so like, I'm not going to say this is normal kid stuff, but it's normal for them to be curious about this stuff, right? But Gacy's father whipped him with a razor strop as punishment. It's a strop is a length of thick leather used to strop a razor blade. It's like kind of like a honing steel for a kitchen knife.
Oh.
Damn.
Oh.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Okay, yeah, no. See, when you said razor strop, I thought you meant like strop with like razors, and I was like,
no,
I'm
it's
sorry.
It's a strip of thick
Yeah.
leather, like put on like stretch it out tight, put some like buffing compound on it, and then run the razor over it. Hone the edge.
Still.
Yeah.
Oh, hell.
Yeah. And apparently, a family friend who was a contractor for Gacy's father, I think. He would sometimes molest Gacy in his truck.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oy.
Yeah, not good.
Not great. And obviously Gacy never told his father about that.
Yeah.
Because why would you?
Question.
Yes.
Obviously, he was born in 1942. Did his dad avoid going to World War II? Because obviously he was a World War One veteran. Not participating in World War Two.
His dad was an auto repair machinist. He was a mechanic. So
he was an essential worker, I guess.
Yeah, I would imagine.
back
I would
in the
imagine so.
country.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's how he got out of the Second World War draft. Yeah.
Right.
Because he was a veteran of the First World War.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Mm,
But yeah, if he was a mechanic, it's probably a decent guess that he got out of the draft. Yeah. So Gacy was like not in the greatest shape as a kid. He was overweight. He wasn't athletic at all, and he had a heart condition. So he was able to avoid all kind of like sports and stuff at school. And he began to experience blackouts during the 4th grade.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, he was hospitalised on
Isn't
several
that like
occasions.
8 years old, 9 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably around that.
Jeez.
Yeah. Well, when he was 15, he had a burst appendix, so he was also hospitalised for that. So he was kind of like in and out of hospital.
Yeah.
For his, like throughout his childhood. He estimated later on that between 14 and 18, he'd spent probably about a year in hospital.
Damn.
Yeah. So like 1 year out of 4 was spent in hospital when he was a teenager.
Yeah, that's
a bit
a
rough.
lot.
Yeah. Obviously his dad, wasn't like, he didn't really believe him. He thought he was faking the stuff to get attention.
Yeah.
He's faking it so you hurt him even more.
Yeah, he like openly accused him of faking while he was in a hospital bed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Way home.
You're like,
In one of his hospital stays. Yeah. It's like, dude, come on.
Not gonna keep him in the hospital bed if he's fine. They're gonna kick him out.
yeah.
Yeah. But they never really diagnosed what was wrong with him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And one of his friends in high school, he was able to being interviewed later. He was able to recall several instances where his father beat him without being provoked, just like for no reason.
Yeah.
And apparently Gacy never retaliated. Like he never did anything other than to like put his hands up to defend himself. Like he never hit back or any of that. So yeah, not great.
Not the ideal environment.
No.
To say the least.
Yeah.
So when he was 18, Gacy became involved in politics.
Oh no.
He, it's not really like relevant to, his murders, but it brings up some interesting circumstances down the line.
Is this gonna be like a Ted Bundy thing where he like lawyers himself out? Like,
not really. I don't think. It's more like while he was committing the murders, some really interesting stuff happened.
but
we'll get to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so he became involved in politics. He became the assistant precinct captain for a Democratic candidate in his neighborhood. And his dad was not a fan of this. You know, I would imagine that he was a staunch Republican, so not really.
Wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah. Yep. Called Gacy a patsy because of it.
Ugh.
Yeah. That same year, Gacy's dad bought him a car, but he kept the title in his own name until Gacy had finished paying it off, and he would confiscate the keys if Gacy didn't obey him.
What's the point of like being like, here's the tiniest bit of something I can give you, but I'm gonna take it away from you whenever I feel like it?
Power, control. I don't know. I mean, again, going back to our like very first episode on serial killers in general, a lot of them like have suffered physical or emotional abuse from family members.
Yeah.
In their early life. Yeah, it's just a thing that you see across all of them.
Some sort of like traumatic event that's just made them like snap.
Yeah, in some cases, yeah, definitely. He 2 years later, Gacy had an extra set of keys made.
He got smart.
Yeah, but his
Smart
dad
boy.
removed the distributor cap for 3 days. Yeah,
I'm sorry, what?
the distributor cap
Which is?
in the engine.
Oh, okay.
Listen,
Sorry,
it removed it, don't go.
Yeah.
That's what you need to know.
Basically, Gacy later recalled that he felt totally sick and drained after this incident. Yeah.
What's that sound?
I'm alive, but I'm dead.
All right.
That was cursed.
Okay, so after the distributor cap was replaced, Gacy drove to Las Vegas, where he worked with the ambulance service before he was transferred to the Palm Mortuary as an attendant.
What is with this like concurrent theme of serial killers doing things that would assist them later on in doing serial killer things?
Yeah.
Like they learn
it's almost
things
like
that help
research
them
for the
dodge,
trade, yeah.
like
I mean, yeah.
dodge, like getting out of
I feel like it
trouble,
makes
you know?
sense, but like...
How do it occur, you know? Like, it's whack, man.
I mean, I've got an entire glass here that I haven't drunk out of if you want it.
Like, what was Ted Bundy? He was like an actual like investigator or
He
something.
was a
wasn't
lawyer.
Was he a lawyer? No.
He was a law student, and he worked at a suicide hotline.
Yeah,
That's
that
it.
was it.
Yeah.
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 I mean, Ted Bundy
Yeah.
did a lot, though. Not gonna lie, he did like a lot. He went to uni 4 times? Was it?
Mm,
Yeah, it was at least 2 or 3 times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
He graduated at least once.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
At least.
Yeah.
At least one degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gacy's working at this mortuary in Vegas, and as the attendant, he would sleep on a cot behind the embalming room.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Fun.
he worked there for about 3 months, mostly just observing the embalming that the actual morticians were doing.
Yeah.
But one evening, like at the very end of his time there, while he was alone in the building. He climbed into the coffin of a deceased male teenager and embraced and caressed the body before experiencing a sense of shock. And after that, he basically like, called home, called his mother, asked whether his dad would allow him to return home. He agreed, and he was basically back. He drove back to Chicago the same day. Yeah.
That was.
A sense of shock. Wait, so he was
He
like...
freaked himself out.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He's like, oh
Because
God.
he's like, what am I doing?
So he actually had like a shred of
Possibly.
decency still.
I mean, the thing, like he's not a murderer yet.
No.
And what we'll see is something that's common to a lot of serial killers is that their first murder is often an accident. Like,
Yeah.
like they'll be
Well, they
into,
didn't mean to do it. Like they got angry and they like, oh shit.
like
I did
they'll
that.
often have a violent outlet for whatever's going on, or they'll like give themselves little allowances. But yeah, often the first murder is an accident, or that's just like spur of the moment,
like an
not planned out.
just like an outburst or whatever.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah, so he's not even like thinking about it this, but he's only 18.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. So once he got back to Chicago, he enrolled at the Northwestern Business College.
So he clearly wasn't stupid. Like,
No, he was. What we'll see later on is he's a very intelligent man.
yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't graduate from high school. Yeah.
I mean, when you spend most of it in hospital, it makes sense.
Yeah, he had not great grades throughout high school, so yeah.
It's okay to say,
Not
man.
really
Relate.
surprising. Graduated in 1963 and took up a position with the Nunbush Shoe Company as a management trainee. A year later, the company transferred him to Springfield, Illinois, to work as a salesman. He was eventually promoted to department manager, and he became engaged in March of that year.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he had, like, a relatively normal life from, like,
Yeah.
18 onwards to
Mostly.
that point.
Aside from the abuse and the mortuary incident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying from, like, 18 to, like, the whole...
yeah.
That was all
So-
kind of normal.
Tame, I guess.
Yeah. pretty much.
Compared to
He
some
could-
other
He
cases.
could have ended up alright.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
There was a shot.
Yeah. So this woman was named Marlon Myers. And she's. Yeah, she pops up again in a second.
Sounds
but,
very similar to Mike Myers.
Does it now?
Yeah.
But yeah,
What a surprise.
Coincidence? I think not.
while they were dating, Gacy joined the local JC's chapter. And the JC's are I forget what the actual name is, but they're like a organisation that provides management and business training.
I was gonna say, are they a gang? It sort of sound like a motorcycle gang.
No, it's... Oh boy, where are we? Let me just find
Just a group
this.
to, like, train people in management, I guess, and, like,
yeah,
share
pretty
information.
much.
They're all just lonely people and really want some friends.
Yeah, United States Junior Chamber. Business development, management skills, community service, all that kind of thing.
Right.
It's a non-profit organisation. It's international. Yeah.
Valid.
Yeah. So he's involved in that, and he's going to be involved in that for like pretty much the entire time up until his arrest, and at a fairly high level too.
Right.
Yeah, like he becomes really well respected within the JCs. Yeah.
It's his cover up for the first murders. It's just like, yo, I got my crew.
I got my crew. They got my
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So in 1964, he has his second homosexual experience. If you can call the previous incident his first.
Homosexual
Yeah.
experience, yeah.
Yeah, debatable.
Yeah, towing the line there.
But yeah, basically, one of his JC colleagues, basically, got him drunk and invited him to sleep on his couch. He agreed, and his colleague then performed oral sex on him while he was drunk.
Ah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, can you call that the second one as well? Because it's like,
Involuntary?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
If someone is unconscious, do not feed them tea.
He's not unconscious. He's just drunk.
Oh man, we were literally watching that video today because Mum didn't know what it was.
Oh god.
Shit, because we were talking about the whole tea metaphor, and we were saying how it was a good metaphor. These pillows are not staying upright. I've got all these pillows
You're
behind
just
me.
completely deconstructing his bed.
Yeah,
How
I
dare
am
you.
old. I've got a bad back. You know, I need my support.
Oh my god.
Okay.
I'm ancient.
Oh boy. All right. So yeah.
Can you imagine when I'm actually like 30? I'm gonna be broken.
Yes. Falling apart.
Yeah, I'm gonna be walking around like, where's my Zimmer frame?
Oh my god.
Your frame. Like on the tennis ball ones. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. Like way across the road and then get hit by a truck.
Jeez.
Sorry.
All right. Okay.
I
Moving on.
think that's the linear progression of that. I think.
If you have a Zimmer frame with tennis balls, you are gonna get hit by a truck.
Yeah.
I mean, I
or a
wouldn't have
car.
thought so, but sure.
It's the logical explanation, you know.
Is that
it's
what
the
happened to the
logical
guy
way.
from Up? Well, oh no, he only had a cane. He's all good.
You see what I
His
have to
cane
deal
hit
with
tennis
every
balls.
week?
No
You can't
words.
speak.
I know I can speak. It's also,
He's just taking it all in.
Yeah.
yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, we're listening to some
Yeah.
You can
intense
join
stuff
in
here.
this podcast.
I'm
Yeah.
well aware. I feel like I'm like a special viewer. It's
Special viewer.
Special viewer.
He's got front row seats.
Yeah.
yeah, never hurts.
Oh dear. So yeah, by 1965, the next year, but there, 65 apparently.
65.
Yeah, by 1965, the following year, Gacy had become the vice president of the Springfield JCs,
Oh.
and also that year he was named the third most outstanding JC in the state of Illinois.
Yeah.
So he's like really working his way up within the JCs.
I'm just wondering where this is gonna take a
Yeah.
sharp
Then he
right
gets to the
turn
top
or
and he
whatever.
just kills them all.
Are you now?
Oh god.
Wait, I'm still wondering. Where does he become a clown? Is where I'm wondering. Like he
When
was
does
at
he
the top of the
become the clown?
JCs.
Oh, we're getting to that.
Yeah. On the edge of my seat.
Actually, I wonder if we'll actually get to that this episode.
a bed.
Don't.
What?
Sit up on the edge of my seat, and he was like, "It's a bed."
I don't know that we'll get to the clowns this episode.
But that's like the whole purpose.
Oh,
I don't think it actually is.
It's only partially
Yeah,
a part of it. Isn't this about the killers of the cereal?
Yes. Yes it is.
Clowns.
Killers of the cereal.
Because they put the milk first before the cereal.
Alright, so. moving on.
Indoor.
I thought you were actually gonna say something, but no, you just
Yeah.
made faces.
That's all I need.
Fuck's sakes.
You guys are terrible.
He's very expressive.
I bet you put the milk before the cereal.
What?
You scum.
What?
I just have no milk at all.
Depends on, like.
Whoa,
how cold it is that
hey,
morning.
don't say the.
Well,
Wait,
no,
are
because,
you
like,
being serious?
if it's like a warmer day, I'll just do it normally, cereal and milk. But if it's a cold day, you put the milk in the bowl first,
Yep.
put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds,
Yep.
and then put the cereal in afterwards.
It's a little
So
bit
the
more
milk,
toasty.
so the milk doesn't have the cold bite like straight out of the fridge. you know?
Okay, I think I can accept that because it's not you just like
Well,
milk
it's
cereal.
better than putting
But-
the milk in a jug and warming it up and then pouring it on your cereal. Because that's
But
just
you want
extra
vanilla
I
milk.
would just put all the cereal.
just enough so that it's not like ice cold out of the fridge,
I would just put the
It's
cereal
just-
milk in and then shove both of it.
Or
in
just
the
take the
microwave.
milk out of the fridge,
Because
do
then the
some
cereal
other
gets
shit.
soggy.
No, but that's sometimes
Take the
good.
milk out of the fridge,
No,
do some
no.
other shit.
Depends on the
and then
cereal.
move on, and then put it in later.
Listen.
Okay, alright.
Some
maybe
chocolate
it
chicks.
Maybe it does
Okay,
depend on
in the
but cereal
microwave.
that I eat, I don't want to get soggy that quickly. How did we get here?
Cereal. Me.
Cereal.
Hi.
Cereal is very important.
Yeah, this is about normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't really consume cereal on a
Really
very
is.
regular
you
basis.
okay?
It's free real estate.
Oh, Jesus. So, September 1964, Gacy and Myers get married after a 6-month courtship.
6
and-
months. Oh.
Yeah. Well, this is the 60s, so
Mm.
Oh yeah, for that it's actually like that was ages.
Actually, yeah, I will take that water because my mouth is super dry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Thank you.
There was ice in
Doing
it.
a lot
I
of
don't know if
talking.
it's still cold, but
Moisten those lips, boy.
The first time that I did this show, we did like a 3-hour recording session.
yeah.
And we recorded like 3 episodes.
Yeah,
My
it's a bit harsh.
throat hurt
Yeah.
after that because I was doing most of the talking.
And you were supposed to be like a special guest then. It was just like, yeah, Conall and I did like 1 or 2 episodes.
Look at me now, Ma.
now you are the brains of this podcast. Like,
Brain man.
Luck is where preparation meets opportunity.
wow, that's a big brain quote.
Big boy words.
Yeah.
All right, so after they were very soon after they were married, what did you say?
Nothing.
Shut up. Let me talk.
Nobody heard it. I wasn't speaking to the
Goddamn
microphone.
weeb.
Anyway. Only
Oh my
she
God.
heard it, I think.
You're not talking to the
God
microphone
damn.
at the moment either.
weeb.
It's
I'm not going to say that.
your waveform looks alright. You'll be alright. So yes, very shortly after they were married, Maya's father bought 3 KFC restaurants in Waterloo, Iowa.
Yo! That is epic.
What are you two doing over there?
He's still saying that like meme that he was saying before.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Don't
And so-
patronise me.
And so I said he was disgusting.
Disgusting.
I didn't do it.
Disgusting.
So-
KFC. Yes. Hello.
Yeah, so Gacy reached an agreement with Maya's father where the couple would move to Waterloo so that, yes, Waterloo, Iowa, which is where the 3 restaurants are located. And Gacy would manage the restaurants, all 3 of them, and they moved into Maya's parents' former home. And basically, Gacy made real good money from this agreement.
Yeah,
solid.
that sounds about right.
Yeah,
3
the-
KFCs.
The equivalent of just
Wait, he
under-
managed all 3. How did he manage all 3?
I'm saying he was like
Just
he was like an overall manager, and then there'd be the 3 store managers. I'm
Oh,
assuming.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
fair.
he was like
The area manager.
Urban manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zilba.
Yeah, but he was earning in 2021 money about just under 124,000 US a year.
Damn.
So
That's a lot.
that's just about that's just about 200,000 New Zealand
Yeah.
a year
No.
in today's money. So he's doing well.
170, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Man, that price.
Alright.
I have American
Um,
friends.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Just
He speaks
So
to
while-
Americans.
while he
He knows
was-
what he's doing.
while he was managing these restaurants, he opened a club, quote unquote club, in his basement
Oh, no.
for his employees,
in
Popeyes.
his basement.
where they
Oh,
could-
so it's like a clubhouse for
Yeah.
the cool kids.
yeah, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
This is a place where they could drink and play pool.
Touch
and stuff.
people.
Smoke weed.
Um,
Whoa.
Hold hands
I
and
didn't
stuff.
hear that, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm just gonna move on.
Yeah. It's what's best for everyone.
It's gonna go that way.
Because obviously, being a big fast food restaurants, there's a lot of young and teenage employees.
Grease.
Right.
Oh, boy, yeah. Tell me more.
Oh my god. So he's got
Nice, like
he's got this club in his basement where his employees can come and drink and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
He tended to only socialise with the young men that he employed.
Oh no.
Like obviously he employed both men and women, but
Yeah.
really only socialised with men.
I wonder why.
Yeah, he would get them drunk and make sexual advances. And if they like rebuffed him, he would say they were just he was just joking.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And if they didn't,
I
They'd hold
assume
hands.
something would happen. I don't know.
Not good things.
I mean, you kind of
Not at all.
from there.
yeah.
Um,
Don't
So,
sleep
yeah,
with your
uh,
managers.
his wife gave birth to a son in 1966.
Please don't tell me nothing happens to the son.
No.
Okay.
And
Cool.
a daughter in 1967.
Oh.
And Gacy was apparently really happy around this time. Like he would later describe his life as perfect. Because he's successful. He's a successful businessman. He's got a wife and kids, and he's getting to do his thing on the side that his wife doesn't know about. So.
I mean, yeah,
Perfect.
Yeah.
absolutely perfect. I guess you can see it that way.
Well.
Getting his little side action.
Well,
Maybe not for the wife.
He must have been doing something right because later in 1966, after his son was born, his parents visited and his father actually apologized for how he treated them as a kid.
Huh.
Yeah.
Shit.
Beta.
And then just
Yeah.
backhanded him across the face.
No, they shook hands,
Wow.
and he said he was proud of him. Yeah.
See, I want to feel good about that, but knowing what's going to happen, I don't really like,
You don't.
You want that to just be like the happy ending. It's like,
Yeah.
and they all live happily ever after. The
It's like,
end.
oh wow, this
We put our
kid
trauma
had a
aside.
he had a turnaround and now his life's really great.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
Hold
So
it up.
no.
Thirsty. Jesus.
just
He's a thirsty
Oh,
lady.
yeah.
no.
I mean, we could just send you out to get him water because you're closer to the door.
Do you want
Yeah, we
water
could.
perchance?
Yes, I will take more water, please.
Moisture check.
Moisture check. See? Hydrated.
Do you want like 2 glasses?
Nah, just take that one.
Multiple?
That'll do.
He's big wedge man.
He's just left his mic lying on the floor.
Yeah. Did he turn it off? No, it's still running.
Well, I mean, it's gonna be a pain.
Hello,
it'd be a pain
no,
to do
Are you gonna take his
that. Oh
mic?
yeah, here we go. All right. Just barely visible.
We're good now. We're fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, you're good. All right.
Don't stretch the cable. Okay.
You're saying like I haven't handled cables and computer stuff before. This sock has some stanky funk behind it. It's some
mean-
quality.
I wore them this morning.
Oh, what?
A little bit of.
Well, I didn't expect somebody else to be sniffing it.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
You left it on the floor and you
Very
got ice
tasty.
in the water.
I did.
Scum.
Do you not
kept
take
it
ice
warm
in
for
your
you.
water?
Thank you.
Really?
Thank you. Warmed it
Ice
up.
sensitive tea.
Put your musk on it.
I mean, I guess your fridge produces like cold water anyway.
Oh, that is quite cold.
All right. Do you two want to get a room? Like we're trying to film a podcast here.
Perhaps.
Right.
Run away.
Got some high quality H2O.
Quality.
Alright.
I'll be back again. So
Yeah. Why do we look like the cast of Friends right now?
Homosexual hating undertones. What?
I mean, I was just gonna say that's actually a really good song, but sure.
Sorry, I was.
Until the lyrics switch up and then it's like, you know what? I'm retracting my statement. Right, continue, please.
Okay,
From what
so-
I've heard.
So yeah, they shook hands.
Yes. So he's like reconciliated with his father.
Yeah.
And in Waterloo, he joined the local JC's chapter. Like I said, he's going to be involved with these guys like pretty much all through, up until his arrest.
Yeah.
Gang.
He would do his hours there. In addition to the 12 to 14 hour days, he was working like managing 3 restaurants.
Yeah.
And he would often provide fried chicken to JC meetings.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
And he insisted on being called Colonel.
Oh.
He sounds like a
What a
lad.
Chad.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Mr. Sanders.
I mean,
Sanders,
again,
son.
something
Coney
that
boy.
Jesus. Something that we're going to see, like, all through this, is that he is actually well liked by people.
Yeah.
Like, he
He's such a nice guy. What happened?
Which again is actually no. I'll get to that. I'll get to that later.
I'd do anything for KFC.
But yeah, he was.
Don't.
They
Did
saw
not.
him as.
It was a bit much.
Butt wiggle too. I was like, alright.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god. But yeah,
I'm sorry I brought this chaotic energy with me.
but yeah,
Something.
so he was like really active in fundraising for the JC, so they like held him in high regard for that as well. And he was named Outstanding Vice President of the Waterloo JCs in 1967.
Yeah, outstanding.
He served on the board of directors that year as well. And he and some other Waterloo JCs were involved in wife swapping, prostitution, pornography, and
Wait,
drugs.
I'm sorry.
Well,
Hold up.
that got
Wait,
very
hold on.
intense very quick.
Hold up. Reverse that real quick. Let's just take a rewind. We're talking about meetings and
Yeah,
things
you
like
guys
that.
weren't expecting that, were you?
No. I was like low-key like, well, this is a bit irrelevant. Like, he just, got that sort of stuff. But, okay. So their meetings were wild.
Yeah, a
They
little bit.
weren't meetings,
like
they were
secretly.
sessions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine they didn't do this stuff like, during official chapter meetings, but
After
Yeah.
hours.
yeah, it happened. Yeah.
After hours, they were
Fuck's
like,
sakes.
let's get that sexy shit up here.
Oh boy. Yeah. So so Gacy, at this time, successful businessman, well respected by the community, doing some shady stuff.
But, like,
He's
still a
just
nice
vibing.
guy.
Yeah.
He hasn't done anything to ruin anybody
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, no. But this is where the real meat of his
Neat.
Mate.
going on begins.
What is wrong with you two?
I want mate. It's this stuff.
Yeah, some juicy meat.
I can't do that.
That was terrifying.
He was doing that before. He was like sitting there and he's like doing all this shit. I'm like, relax. I'm trying to
I
listen.
did not like the way you approached your... Oh god, that was
Well,
slightly
it was
scary. Yeah.
I'm trying to... No.
How you
Go
doing?
towards that way. I don't want it.
What's going on?
I want the information.
Yeah, same.
Oh god.
I'm very uncomfortable with the energy we've created in the studio today.
Same, yeah.
No. Okay.
Keep it professional.
What
Sit up.
What defines
Sit up.
professional?
Get your shit together. We're watching. We're listening to
yes,
Lee.
Yes, we are. Okay, so August 1967. With all that background set up
Yeah.
as to Gacy's life at
And his
this time.
character.
August 1967, Gacy sexually assaulted 15-year-old Donald Voorhees, the son
No.
of a fellow JC.
Ah.
Yeah.
How did he even get like access to the
Okay,
son of a
so,
co
Access.
Access.
Security
So-
clearance.
Obviously, he knew Voorhees, as
Yeah.
the son of a fellow
Jason.
JC.
I knew you were going to fucking say that.
He-
You're so just
Basic.
generic.
Yeah.
So Gacy lured Voorhees to his house with the promise of showing him heterosexual stag films.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's
What?
the term that they use.
Heterosexual stag
Porn,
films.
straight porn,
Yeah, I think I love it.
just straight porn.
Straight porn.
Just your real
Dicks.
vanilla.
Think you're right.
Yes,
Yeah.
films which regularly played at JC events.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Yo, want to come over to my house and watch porn?" Yeah.
Well, this kid's 15, you know.
He's hormones
Wait,
running around.
wait.
He's
No,
15. It's the late 60s.
I thought you said the kid was
Yeah.
15.
Yes.
The kid is 15.
Yeah. So, but who invited him around?
Gacy.
How are you confused by
who
this?
is-
Oh, I thought the guy's the kid's father invited Gacy
No.
around. That's
No.
why I was
No.
like,
To
okay, that's
watch
why I was confused.
That
Yeah.
would be
with
concerning.
His 15-year-old
No,
son.
I thought the guy invited him round. They watched porn, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, you have a son." Aha.
No.
And I was like, "That's
No.
so much worse." Okay, that makes
I
sense.
mean, I can understand where the confusion came from. but
Yeah.
No, Gacy
Invited the son
invited-
around.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, again,
and-
once again, how did he have access to this guy's 15-year-old son?
Because he knows a coworker.
Yeah.
He was a
Yeah, I know.
well-respected man,
He
obviously.
probably met him.
He's got the
met
rep.
him before, you know.
Yeah, but still, like,
The kid's 15. Gacy's 25 at this
He's
point.
got
You
the
know, it's like-
clout.
he's 15. It's the late 60s.
oh yeah, true.
Uh,
But like a 15-year-old kid being like, "Yeah, I'm going around to your boss's house to watch porn."
20-something friend of his dad. You know, he's like, he's probably going to trust that guy. And he's off. And
He's like,
offering
yeah,
to show
he's an
him
adult.
porn.
He knows what he's doing.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, true.
He's not thinking.
The only
with
stuff
his
he
head.
can probably get is
He's
porn in the
thinking with the
woods.
other
Yeah, I was like, he's thinking with his head, alright.
The only other place you can probably find porn is in the woods. Like before.
Okay. So
Wood porn. We've talked about this.
yeah, woods porn.
Woods porn.
You know, it's just like, teenager, you'd be out in the woods and you just find a box of discarded porn.
Oh, I mean,
You know,
like
just,
a
or just
right-
like in a tree.
It's like a
you know.
rite of passage for the 70s, 80s, even 90s. Jeez.
I would not know this. This is news to me.
Thing.
Very
Always
important.
Because we were born
Obviously.
in the 2000s. You're old. You're so old.
I consume a lot of content created by older content creators, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I hear these
Same.
stories.
But, yeah.
I see.
Yeah. He got Voorhees drunk, allowed him to watch one of these films, and then persuaded him to engage in mutual oral sex. And he said to him, to convince him,
69.
you have to have sex with a man before you start having sex with women.
Oh.
I don't actually know how Gacy sounds, but that's what I'm going to
How
make his voice.
Yeah, you know what? That fits.
how
That
did
sounds
this
like it fits. How was this boy like?
boy-
Yeah, well, the boy was drunk. He said he got him
Yeah.
drunk.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, he said he got him drunk. So obviously he's like, okay, practice.
Yeah, and this is an older guy who he probably respects, you know.
Gotta believe.
Yeah,
You can see that.
believe to achieve.
So yeah, that happened.
Say that.
And then Gacy would go on to abuse several other youths similarly over the next few months. And he tricked several of them into believing that he was commissioned to conduct homosexual experiments there for
Bleep.
scientific research.
What?
And he would pay them like up to $50 each
For science.
for doing this. Yeah,
Science.
yeah.
He
For science.
he turned them into prostitutes.
Yeah, technically yes. I guess he did.
He prostituted out 15-year-olds for himself.
Well, he didn't prostitute them out. He
For himself.
technically, I guess he kind of hired them as prostitutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
essentially non-consensual
It's
prostitutes.
not like he was getting them drunk and then sending them out on the street to
Let's just get more,
turn tricks on the
getting
corner.
more and more
Yeah,
concerning. Oh, Lord Jesus.
Yeah. So about 6-7 months later, March of '68, Voorhees reported the sexual assault to his father, who immediately reported it to the police, who arrested Gacy and charged him with performing oral sodomy on Voorhees. And he was also charged with the attempted assault of 16-year-old Edward Lynch, who was one of the other youths who was involved with this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gacy, denied the charges, obviously, as you would.
Yeah.
He demanded to take a polygraph test, a lie detector,
God.
and the results indicated that he was nervous when he denied wrongdoing in relation to the young men.
So not necessarily lied, but like...
No,
I feel
polygraph
like can't tell.
tests are notoriously unreliable. Like
Yeah.
the machine is
Yeah.
so easy to fool, and even like if it returns a false positive, like there's any number of reasons that it could
Yeah.
show up with that kind of result. So yeah, they are definitely not relied upon in modern investigative work.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, again, 60s. You know, this is what they got.
You use what you got, man.
Yeah. So he publicly denied any wrongdoing as well. Insisted that the charges were politically motivated, because he was. Voorhees' father had opposed Gacy's nomination as president of the local JC's chapter.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah. But several of his fellow JCs found his story credible, and supported Gacy throughout this. But he was indicted on the sodomy charge on May 10th, 1968.
Which is how long later? A while then.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's like 3 years.
It's like 2 months. 2 months later.
Oh shit! I thought we were like back in '65 for some reason.
No, 68.
We're in '68 now.
Yeah.
Fuck! I was not following. Shit!
One more year.
Don't say one more year.
One more year.
I'm trying to. What are you thinking of there, eh?
1969.
Ah!
Sure. Perfect for the subject at hand.
No.
I already made that joke
Please
and none
not.
of you heard it.
Oh.
Because he said mutual oral sex and I was like, that's 69.
Well,
Listen,
And
nobody cares.
you've stolen
everyone
my
blanked-
jokes.
Yeah,
so
everyone
far.
probably
blanked
wasn't
it. So,
listening.
I
yeah.
put
You've
it in
stolen
here.
my jokes in the past, so this is completely fine. You know, it's
Bad
outstanding.
delivery.
Tee funny, haha.
What joke did I steal? You've got a very different humour to mine.
No, you've stolen some of the stakes, man. You know, just don't
Oh,
worry about it.
right.
We're good. We're fine.
So yeah.
We're good.
A few months later, in August, he persuaded another one of his employees, an 18-year-old named Russell Schrader. He persuaded him to physically assault Voorhees, like go beat him up.
What?
To,
He paid an 18-year-old to go beat up a 15-year-old.
Yeah, look, he wanted to discourage this kid from testifying against him. Paid him $300 in
Good price.
68 money, so you know,
Good money.
it's decent. It was early the next month that he lured Voorhees to a park out in the country, sprayed mace in his eyes, and then beat him.
Yeah, because that's not suspicious. You know, the witness getting beaten
Yeah.
up.
Well, Voorhees escaped and reported the assault to the police.
Oh,
he was able
okay.
to identify Schrader as the attacker.
And I'm assuming he didn't know the kid either. Like, it's not like you're the high school bully or whatever. Like, it'd be pretty suspicious, just some random guy beating you up.
72.
Hmm.
Sure.
I mean,
Because if it's like your high school bully or whatever, you're just like, oh, no, whatever. But like when it's just some
it
random,
was a
you're
random
like,
person because it was separation of employee and the JC. group,
Yeah.
So
I
probably
haven't-
didn't.
I
I would assume they don't know each other.
So I
yeah,
thought-
but that
I
makes
thought
it
my-
more suspicious.
I thought my
Yeah.
notes were out of order for a minute, but no, I have got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Schrader was one of his KFC employees. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got confused because he starts another business later on. and
Oh,
that's
yeah, yeah.
A different section of my notes.
Damn, he's a
Yeah.
businessman.
And I've been like
Business.
shifting them around to make sure the
Entrepreneur.
timeline is correct. Just looking at the recording time, which is just over an hour, so I'm going to go for a little further, and then we'll.
You go to like 110, 120, something like that. Maybe 110.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
get through. I'll get through this section of his life, and then we'll see where we are.
Alright.
This might be a 3-part episode.
Really?
Three-parted.
Yeah, I was thinking.
Dang.
I was thinking we might get it done in 2 parts, but like this is just like his early stuff.
Shit.
Yeah.
Maybe we might have to deconstruct some stuff as well, because like I feel like the most important part is early life and then just murder.
Murder.
It's possible. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we get.
It seems like the early life stuff is more interesting a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I would
Sometimes,
say.
yeah.
Because you want to know like what makes them tick.
How
what
did they?
made them
How did they
snap?
get there? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Schrader was arrested the day after the assault.
Yeah.
Like after it was reported. He initially denied any involvement and then confessed and basically fingered Gacy as the guy who told him to do it. You know, Gacy was arrested and got an additional charge of hiring Schrader to assault and intimidate Voorhees added to his existing indictment.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Great.
Question.
Yes.
What is the difference between an indictment and being like charged? Is that just like
Oh.
they've like given the
Is it like a written warning? Or...
they've like, yeah, you have this charge against you, but it hasn't
Well-
passed yet? Is that kind of like an indictment is, or?
An indictment is a formal charge. So the initial charge was, just from the cops, when they arrested him. The indictment actually comes
from the judge.
It's like it's a
Right.
Like you've been officially charged with this crime, and you will stand trial for it, basically.
Okay, yeah. So it's like the in between the cops and the court, right?
So the cops can arrest and charge you like on suspicion of something, but an indictment requires that you
enough evidence for him to go to court. Yeah. Right.
Basically. Yeah. So, on September 12th, Gacy underwent a psychiatric evaluation. There. Totally tripped over that. A psychiatric evaluation at the University of Iowa's Psychiatric Hospital. 2 doctors examined him over a period of 17 days.
Was he trying to plead insanity or some shit? Or
No, they just... This was just a court-ordered psychiatric exam. Yeah. But they concluded, after 17 days, that he had an antisocial personality disorder.
Oh.
He was a psychopath.
Ah.
Yeah. Which, again, is
Not
something
good.
that we see. It's something we see in a lot of serial killers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they concluded that he was unlikely to benefit from therapy or medical treatment, and that he was likely to, repeat this kind of behaviour.
Right.
But they also concluded that he was mentally competent to stand trial.
Right. So he's not insane, but he's...
Yeah.
Fucking,
So, because obviously...
he's not a good person.
Late 60s, sodomy, homosexuality, kind of definitely not socially acceptable in a lot of places.
Yeah.
In most places, I would venture to say. And in some cases treated as a mental illness.
Yeah.
So, not a great time in history. We're a lot better about it now. Obviously, still a ways to go, but we're better about it in society as a whole, which is good. So on November 7th, Gacy pleaded guilty to 1 count of sodomy in relation to Voorhees, but not guilty to any other charges.
What, not guilty to the hiring someone to beat up a child?
I don't think so, no. But
It's like that child can't be trusted.
But he had other charges related to the other youth that he abused.
Yeah.
The other kids. So,
right.
Yeah, he pleaded not guilty to those. He ended up being convicted of sodomy and sentenced to 10 years imprisonment.
Okay.
10 years?
Yep, and his wife petitioned for divorce on the same day.
Fair.
Yeah.
Oh,
Not be involved with
She
that.
she requested that she be awarded the couple's home and property, sole custody of their 2 children, and alimony. Court rule in her favour.
What a surprise.
The divorce was finalised on September 18th, 1969, and Gacy never saw his first wife or children again.
Good.
Wait, hold up. First wife?
Yes. So she was gone.
Ever again? Wow.
Yeah.
Over 1 count of homosexual assault.
Yes.
She's pretty smart.
I mean, that's it's the one smart woman we've seen in all of these things. The rest of them are like, he only killed 3 people. It's fine.
You've got a point, I guess. Yeah. So I'll walk you through his.
Right, imagine those kids though. They're like, "Oh, so do you not speak to your father?" And it's like, "No, he's
He ain't good.
Who's your dad? Oh.
No, I don't like you anymore. I'm not gonna speak to you.
Got a little bit to go, and then we'll wrap this up. So while he was in prison, he acquired a reputation as a model prisoner. So again, we see people actually liking him. Within months of being imprisoned, he had risen to the position of head cook in the prison commissary.
Okay.
He joined the inmate JC chapter because of course he did.
Of course.
I'm sorry, there was what?
There was a JC chapter within the prison.
So a lot of people from JC had just been arrested for things, or
I would imagine it was part of an outreach program that they had. Providing rehabilitation services to inmates.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was just like, what? Just a lot of people who went through JC got arrested for shit, and they're like, "Yo, my people."
It's a fairly progressive idea for the 60s.
Yeah.
But yeah, in less than 18 months, he increased the JC chapter membership from 50 men to 650 men.
Holy
in less than a year and a half.
Jeez.
Man's working. Holy
650 men, that's a massive prison.
He secured an increase in the inmates' daily pay in the mess hall and supervised several projects to improve conditions for inmates, once overseeing the installation of a miniature golf course in the rec yard.
It's a prison, not a resort.
How is this man doing so much good but about to do so much bad?
Also, hold up.
He's
Pay?
a psychopath. And he's incredibly intelligent.
The
That's
pay?
true.
Pay rise?
Yeah, well, yeah, like they have like a certain amount that they're allowed to spend.
It's like an
every
allowance,
day,
I guess.
like,
Oh, they
at
get
the
pocket money?
commissary, You know,
Yeah.
like at the mess, at the
Increase my pocket money to
commissary shop
$5.
that they have.
Yeah, because I think they get a certain amount, and then
For like smokes and things like
and
that.
then family can spend them. They can send them money as
Yeah,
well. I think.
it's a whole system that they have.
Family sends in like $3,000.
I think there are limits on it. I think we did briefly talk about that in the Bundy episode as well.
Maybe,
Well,
yeah, because he escaped from prison.
Yeah,
Yeah.
several times. Yeah.
Weird, didn't she send him something or other? To help him escape?
Don't
Yeah, it's like
remember.
cash and something.
Mm.
Yeah. But yeah, Gacy was denied parole in June 1969, and in order to prepare for a second scheduled parole hearing in May of the next year, he completed 16 high school courses and obtained his diploma in November 1969.
Damn.
69.
Stop it.
Someone had to say it.
Nice.
Yeah, noise.
And on
Dude, he sounds like such a smart, like well put together man.
He's not well put together.
Yeah.
yeah,
Just smart.
yeah, he is. He's intelligent, and you know, he's
Smart
a
and
psychopath,
crumbling.
So he knows, like, he's able to manipulate people.
Yeah.
Same as Bundy.
Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, on Christmas Day 1969, his father died from cirrhosis of the liver.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was,
Okay. That was quite the
Nice.
outburst.
this was like devastating to Gacy. Yeah.
Really?
And he requested. He requested.
Yeah,
Father used
why?
to beat me. That was our only
Because
bonding
he
time.
like actually made up with his father, and he was he had a good relationship.
I
with
guess.
him now, you know?
Yeah.
He requested compassionate leave to attend the funeral, but his request was denied.
Oh.
And after having served 18 months of his 10-year sentence, he was granted parole with 12 months probation in June of 1970.
That's fast.
Yeah.
Wait, so out of his 10-year sentence, he only spent 18 months in
Year and a
jail.
half, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shit.
The probation conditions included that he relocate to Chicago to live with his mother, and he observe a 10 p.m. curfew. And when he was
So he just went back to being like 17.
well, when he was released,
Yeah.
he one of his fellow JCs picked him up, a guy named Clarence Lane, and this guy was like, he fully believed that Gacy was innocent of the charges for some reason. But Gacy told him that he intended to go back to Waterloo and like re-establish himself in business. But within like a day of being released, he'd gone back to Chicago, which was the terms of his parole. He got a job as a short order cook in a restaurant. So kind of a step down.
Yeah, just a bit of a fall from grace.
Yeah.
Damn.
What are your qualifications? I used to run 3 restaurants and work in part of the JC crew, and it's like, well.
Like, yeah.
So, in June 22nd, so like 4 months later, he was charged with aggravated sexual battery and reckless conduct. This was in response to a complaint filed by a youth who claimed that Gacy had flashed a sheriff's badge, lured him into his car, and forced him to perform oral sex. But the charges were dropped after the complainant attempted to blackmail Gacy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not the best move.
No. So he's like... He's still getting up to some stuff
Mm.
with the kids, But the parole board in Iowa didn't hear about this. And 8 months later, his parole ended. And the following month, the records of his previous criminal convictions were sealed. Which basically means that he doesn't have to disclose any of that stuff to potential employers in the future.
Yeah.
Any of that stuff. So with financial assistance from his mother, Gacy bought a ranch house near the village of Norwich And Norwich is in Chicago. It's kind of like a... Think of like in Auckland, how Manukau City is like... It's not in Auckland proper.
Yeah.
It's still like part of that municipal area.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what Norwich is to Chicago. So he's still within the Chicago area, but not like in the city proper.
Yeah.
Yeah. This address, 8213 West Summerdale Avenue. This is where he lived until he was arrested. And this is where he buried 29 of the 33 bodies that he is known to have produced
Shit.
during his
Boggers.
Wait, what was the span for his killing spree?
It's about let's see.
Thinking sound.
Constipation.
Wait, I want to say 6 years. What's your guess?
His
The
killing
span,
spree.
like from the first to the last, like I want to say 6 years.
So I think that's a lot of bodies.
Yeah. How many did Ted Bundy do?
11.
About the same. 11 years. What's your
And I
guess?
feel like
There's so
he
many
kind of gets
days in a
caught.
year.
Just sorry.
What?
What did you say?
Nani?
Ah, okay.
Sheeny.
How many years? Take a guess.
4.
Cool. What was the?
Yeah, Jen was pretty close. It was between January 1972 and December. I lost it. 1978. There we are.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, 33 young men and boys. Yeah.
Oh, so he
And-
really did just like get a thing after that.
Yeah.
Fang.
And
Lang.
yeah, I believe it was 29 of the bodies were buried in the 26. Sorry, 26 of the bodies were buried in the crawl space of this house. On
Ooh.
Summerdale.
Oh, not even like in the yard or anything.
No.
Like in the crawl space.
In the crawl space underneath the house.
Oh,
It's
so
a decently
underneath
large
the
house.
26.
floorboards.
26 bodies.
No, like the
No.
crawl space under the house. So like it was
Mm.
houses
A lot of
were like
space
built
for
on
that. Looks like a big
foundations and
house.
things
So
like that.
Well,
Under the house.
The
I mean,
piles.
there's a
So they- like,
My
the
job
dirt
has different terms.
of
Oh.
the like
Yeah.
space like
Okay.
showing like approximately where he buried all the bodies.
Oh, he
It's like-
actually.
yeah. It's like
Wait, sorry, what?
Damn.
Sorry.
When he jumping forward a little, when he was arrested, and like when they were fully into this investigation, he provided the police with a map of the
Layout?
He drew a map of the house layout, and then like indicated on it where the bodies were buried in the crawl space. Yeah, it's like, and the police
Yeah.
produced like a cleaned up version to help their crime scene teams. But yeah, it's weird to look at,
Yeah.
is what I'm gonna say. Yeah.
I mean, we will get to that.
Yeah. So 8213 West Summerdale Avenue.
Is that an important address?
Sure.
That's
Yeah.
that's the house. That's the house where he
His
he
house.
lives.
Yeah, I know, but like, is
Murdered
that
and-
important to remember?
It's not really.
Okay, cool.
No, it's
Cool.
just
Emphasis.
Yeah.
It's infamous
interesting.
in true crime stories.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it exists anymore. I think it was torn down.
Thank the Lord. Can you imagine someone buying that and they're like, "So anything wrong with this house?" And they're like, "Well,
So yeah.
there used to be 30 people under this house."
So yeah,
no.
according
26.
what? 26, yes. He's listening.
I was just ballparking, rounding it up. You know what? Yeah, sure, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Bruh.
So
Don't patronize
yeah,
me.
according to Gacy.
Don't touch me.
Oh my god, you too.
Yep.
According to Gacy, this house is where he committed all 33 of those murders, and he has he did claim at least once that he murdered up to 45 people, but 33 confirmed murders.
Wow.
It's kind of impressive that he did it all at the same place without having to move once.
Yeah.
Yeah, and while he was
Like
while he
Ted Bundy
living-
was all over the place.
while
Yeah,
he
he
was
was
living in this
like
house, again, he was well regarded by the community. His neighbours considered him helpful. He would, loan tools. He would plough snow from the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
free of
bet he
charge.
had a lot of tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I'll come play.
yeah, while he was involved in
Don't
politics
say
during this
that.
time as well.
Sorry.
He was involved in politics during this time as well.
Of course he was.
And yeah, he would often host these massive summer parties that are attended by like hundreds of people, including politicians and stuff.
And everyone's like, "What's that smell?" And it's like, "Oh, it's just the damp under the house. Don't worry about it."
So yeah, Gacy has moved into his murder house,
Ooh.
and next week
This used to be a fun house.
Shut.
Pink song.
Shut.
But now
But now
it's
it's
full
full
of
of
evil clowns.
Shut.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good reference. Come on.
And next week
Alright, copyright
we
claims.
will be covering the murders themselves and where the clowns come into it.
Clowns.
Where the clowns, where the clowns, where the clowns at?
You got any more
Yeah.
shit humour?
End me now.
Please, I beg of you. Ah!
Yeah, so that's
My God.
John Wayne Gacy, Part 1.
Dun, dun, dun.
Fuck's sakes.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of information. And that was
Yeah,
only... God, that was only just...
Yeah, we've not even got to
His,
the murders yet.
his origin story.
Yeah.
The origin of
Gacy
John Wayne
origins.
Gacy.
No.
Honestly,
Oh,
good
God.
title. Good thumbnail.
And the next one will be Gacy Begins.
Oh my god.
Mm.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's not good.
Oh, sounds good. Right. You want to end us out?
The Clown Rises.
All right.
Is it-
So I want to try something new
Okay.
now.
What?
I'm gonna we at the end of
Words.
each episode. I'm thinking we could like recommend like a piece of media or something to the audience.
I thought you were going to say recommend a serial killer. I was like, okay.
I mean, please, if you have audience, if you have something that you want us to cover specifically,
You guys
Leave-
can recommend this serial
leave it
killer.
in the comments because we love to. Gacy was actually mentioned in a comment on one of our earlier episodes.
Yeah.
Please forgive me.
It was Bree Bundy Part 1. I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Was it?
I think
Yeah,
so.
and I think it's one of the. I think we've only got like 2 comments on our videos, but this was one of them, and I cannot remember who commented. I'm sorry, but you were heard, and yes, this is the one that I've been preparing for. So yeah, we do check the comments because there's not very many at the moment.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
We're getting there. We're getting there.
One
Yeah.
day.
So what are my recommendation for this week is I've been working on building up my comic trade collection. It's like trade paperbacks, graphic novels, all that kind of thing. And one of the series that I have been reading is called Rat Queens.
Rat Queens.
Yeah, it's a comic about a D&D style adventuring party.
Mm.
It's these 4 women, and they're basically D&D characters, and it's very adult, and it's very good. The first
Slightly
story arc,
concerns me.
one of them is a cleric whose family worship this Lovecraftian like cosmic
Tentacle
horror
monster, yeah.
god, like old god,
Yeah.
and she doesn't actually believe that it exists. And yeah, the first story arc is them having to fend off an attack on their town from the like minions of this old god. It's very good. It's a very good series. Rat Queens, created by Curtis J. Weber and Rock Upchurch. It's published by Image Comics, and it's very good. Yes,
Very
highly
nice.
recommend.
Have to check it out. Yeah, I don't have any media to recommend.
Very
I don't do much. I make YouTube videos. I do my vlogs now. So I do 2 videos a week on my channel, and that's pretty much all I do. And I go to work. That's
Alright.
that's
Do
essentially.
you have like a creator to recommend, or
Yeah, whips out the phone there. Who do I mean?
you guys can share your rec if you want.
Actually, I do the one podcast I actually watch is the
Podcast, yes, good, perfect.
Yes,
God.
it's the What's Good podcast. By
That's good. I think I've heard of this one.
yeah, so it's got Simon, Minter, and Randolph. They run it. Simon is from the Sidemen, if you've heard of that. It's a
Yes.
yeah, it's a UK group, I guess if you want to call it. They have their own channel. They make their own videos, but that podcast is actually really good. Their episodes are like 2.5 hours long. Like they're long episodes, but
That's
it's
very
something.
long.
Yeah, it's actually like pretty interesting because their ones are just like normal like talkback things, but like they generally have a guest and they talk about like what the guest does and things like that. But then they also have like a question segment because it's the What's Good podcast. They have a question good like what's good, and it's 10 things, and they're just random things, and you're like, are you for it or against it? So one of them was like, I don't know, fizzy drinks, and you're like, yes, no, why, and like lip discussions and things like that. It's actually pretty interesting, but yeah, it's good. It's like a little like icebreaker thing into the podcast, and it's actually pretty good. So yeah, the What's Good podcast. Shout out to them.
Awesome. Conall.
Maybe they'll shout out.
Me?
So
Yes. What do you got?
I don't know. I've been consuming a lot of Warhammer content currently.
my.
Really?
40k.
Okay.
Yes.
I know, and I came across like a pretty popular guy called what's his name? He's called Bricky, I think, and he made these two videos, and it's just like it explains all the races in Warhammer 40k, and like each episode is 40 minutes long, and it's
Nice. Ricky, actually, I think I've
great.
watched those videos.
yeah, he makes some good videos.
Is he the guy who like he's sitting and he's got the
Yeah,
top up and then
he's
he
got like the green
puts
screen.
himself on the
Yeah.
Okay, yes, no, I've seen those videos. They're very good.
Yeah,
there
no,
was like
I really
my
do like
introduction
them.
to Warhammer.
Yeah,
Aside from Astartes, which
brilliant.
is fantastic.
Oh,
yeah.
Starties is
that is good.
meltingly delicious.
Yes.
Oh yes, when they're when they just fucking
Yes.
bash the psyker and shoot him.
Okay,
That's
so,
brutal.
Are we just gonna do like a unanimous recommendation for the Astartes web series?
100%.
sure.
It's great.
Um,
God, I wish there was more.
yeah, it's a
You're so cultured.
it's a five-part.
It's like a short film, pretty much.
Five-part animated short film created by one man over like 6-7 years.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and it's gorgeous.
Wait,
so
did you say
beautiful.
they were 40 minutes long?
No,
No,
no.
it's
We're
not
talking
like-
about something else now.
Oh, okay.
The whole thing is maybe 15-20 minutes long.
Yeah,
Shit.
it's not much.
Yeah.
It's not much, but it's very good.
It's split into 5 parts. The animation is gorgeous. The visual storytelling is just perfect. Like, you know exactly what's going on at all times. It's all created by one man. It used to be on YouTube. I don't think it is anymore because
No, it
he-
is.
No, it is.
It
Well,
is.
no, because the rights to it. The creator of it was hired by what's the studio that does Warhammer?
Games Workshop?
Games Workshop. That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
So I believe it's now available on the Games Workshop site.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Right.
Well, you
yeah.
see the comps of
Yeah, right.
So let's
just
see.
the actual.
It's possible that Games
5
Workshop
episodes.
re-uploaded it to
Oh,
YouTube.
well, it's okay.
Yeah.
So it's about 13 minutes long, and all of, like it's been re-uploaded on YouTube by like a bunch of different channels. So you like if you just search Astartes on YouTube, Astartes, you'll find it. It's usually like Astartes 1 to 5 or Astartes all parts, something like that. It's like 13 minutes long. It's fantastic. Go watch it.
So that seems really impressive, like the way you're talking about it, but like, could you imagine at the end of the 7 years, he's like, I finished it, and goes to show it to his family, and it's like 15 minutes long. Like,
Yeah, well, it's got
It's so
it had a
much-
shitload of views. Like,
so much
yeah.
work.
like it's probably the best Warhammer animation out there.
It's
It
Or
is
like
the best.
freaking awesome.
Short film, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything
Sexy.
else that can rival it. I'm trying to think, but nah.
Um,
Oh
Yeah, and
god. Sorry, I just thought
gonna
of something.
finish out this segment with an extra recommendation. Because I completely cribbed the idea for this from another podcast who also do recommendations at the end of the episode. Mostly Nitpicking, hosted by Nando, DJ, and Diggins. It's a
Diggins.
film review podcast where they pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the
Review.
details.
Shut.
That is word for word the intro to the show.
Oh.
I have listened to so many episodes of it. It's fantastic. Nando has his own YouTube channel, Nando V Movies, where he does deep dives on pop culture as well, and like does rewrites of not so great pieces of media. He's done stuff for the Defenders, Justice League.
I feel like
Yeah.
I've heard
all that kind of
this.
stuff.
I feel like I've seen a little bit of his stuff.
Yeah, he calls them one small changes. Yeah, and he like
Man,
changes
yeah.
like one small thing that like completely revamps the story. It's very good. So yeah, Nando V Movies and his podcast Mostly Nitpicking. That is my second recommendation for this week.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you have one? Do you want to join in? Do you have a recommendation?
I mean, the only thing I could really think of is probably shouting out one of my fellow streaming friends.
Oh,
Go
Yeah.
for it.
may
Go for
as
it.
well.
Right, let me pick out the little title so I don't make it up. This is what I was on my phone before.
Gotta help the homie out,
That's what I was
man.
looking
Yeah, get them views.
Gotta help my homie out.
with the
All
amount
right.
of
So if
views
you
we
like
get.
watching Twitch streams, we have a lovely guy called Love a Llama.
Love a Llama.
He is a great streaming guy who lives in Christchurch. And
Church.
if you like virtual reality content and just your average show games, that's a clown.
I closed my tab and I still
You
had
forgot
the
about
tab
it
open.
completely.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't want to see that.
That's
Yeah.
just a cheeky face just staring into your soul.
That's
Cheeky.
Nonetheless, a great streaming guy, great personality, very out there. Although there's an ongoing joke that he's a furry, but he's not one.
There's nothing wrong with being a
He's
furry.
not one, but he could be. Never know. it's a
And
lot of
on that
imagination.
note,
Oh well.
Lee, do you want to end us out on that?
Oh, totally.
Excellent. Is that all your recommendations?
Maybe.
All right. Cool.
Yes.
Awesome.
Either way.
So, thank you for listening to the Zero Function podcast. Tune in next week for John Wayne Gacy Part 2.
The beginnings.
Gacy Begins.
Gacy begins.
Oh yeah, sorry, I fucked it.
Actually, I really want us to title this episode Gacy Origins.
Gacy Origins, well, Gacy begins.
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy, Gacy Origins.
And then,
Yeah.
if we have a
Part
third
one.
part, the clown rises.
Oh my god.
Okay, we'll
Like,
talk
comment,
about this.
subscribe.
Yes, find us on Twitter and Instagram at ZeroFunctionPod. Jen, I am Genevieve on YouTube.
Yeah.
Conall, RigMonkey0 on Twitch.
Yeah.
And again, I am a hermit. I do nothing outside
Bond
of
of the
this.
shadows.
So you can find me on social media at Lee Fisher on everything, at Toasty Sandwich, that kind of thing. But I don't post, so
It's pretty much useless.
why bother?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure to follow us on, well, actually, no, subscribe to this channel first of all, and then follow us on Twitter and Instagram at ZeroFunctionPod. We'll eventually post on there, I swear.
And again, we are working on uploading to Spotify.
That's a very complicated process.
process, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sucks
All right.
ass.
So, thank you guys for joining me for this
Oh, good.
very interesting journey, and we will see you next week.
Peace.
Red Rat Queens.